Hello everybody, this is JR Chunks 21 doing a deck profile of my brand new and improved Dark Magician deck. And by brand new and improved, I mean I've really only changed a couple of things. This is more of a low, casual, competitive tier style thing where I'm not going to locals or regionals. I might at some point in my life, but at this point, I go to college, and this is the deck I use, for the most part. So, before we get started here, I wanted to say that the Dark Magical Circle that I open my videos with, that is like 3 seconds long or so, that is going to just be used for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff. Because I don't want to, I don't want to use it for the Fallout 4 and Pokemon, so I'll have an opening for that. I'll have to figure out a way to do it. I might have a friend of mine do a cheeky little animation style to it. But I also wanted to respond. I was just watching the Team APS video they did where they did their Q&A video. And I'm a big fan of Team APS. I asked them at one point to do a collaboration video, and they gave me some good advice. They told me to get my channel off the ground before I start asking people for collaborations. And at first I kind of I was a little upset. I'm like, well, they don't want to support, they don't want to help me out. But then I started realizing, well, it's important for them, and their advice has given me a whole new respect. It's kind of like the advice Oxhorn gave me, where he told me, where he did a live stream and said, you know, if you're thorough and concise and you follow a schedule and whatnot, you know, you'll get more people on board. And that's what I plan to do. Now, I plan to do a lot of video game content, because that's why I went through all the trouble of getting a webcam. But I will also be doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, because I have... that is primarily why I set up the channel. So we're going to start out with the mat that I'm using. As you can see, it's the Noble Knights. A big thing you guys need to know about me is I went out and I bought that $60 Noble Knights box. I never once used the cards. I just bought it because I liked the Legend of King Arthur. I was obsessed with it. I bought the original copy of it. That's a poem. That was at Barnes & Noble. You know, it's not the original, but you know what I mean. It was written in the Old English and everything. Because I liked King Arthur. I liked the story of King Arthur. I liked everything about King Arthur. So I bought the Noble Knights. And when links were announced, I was using... I showed you guys my Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds playmat, but I'm going to show you an example of that. Of the style of playmat I was using. I was using this style of playmat that comes in the Legendary Collections boxes. So I was using this style of playmat right here, where it's got the spaces all marked out. And that's what I was using. And when links were announced, I realized if I was going to keep using this, I would have to be completely reliant on a friend or something having a bigger mat like this. So I got this out of a storage case that I had, rolled it up, and I'm not buying a container for it, I'm just using something. Because back in the day, I didn't use sleeves. I didn't like the feel of sleeves, I didn't like the look of sleeves. I wanted to use what they did in the anime, where they did this number. They did that number. That was what I did for the most part. I didn't use sleeves at all. So, you know, that's what I did. And this is just a little gimmicky deck that I have laying around that, you know, occasionally I'll just play around with it just for the hell of it. Because I don't want to get into my box and get all my stuff out. But Team APS asked what deck you're going to use for the upcoming format. So, if I'm dueling competitively where I want to win, like the tournament at my college, or, you know, I just want a fast-paced duel, I'll go Dark Magicians. But I plan to do Cyber Darks. I like the gimmick of Cyber Darks when they first came out, and I really want to play them again. And with new support, I plan to build a Cyber Dark deck. Somewhere floating around in that massive collection of cards, it's probably 10,000 strong that I've got, if not more. I've got the OG Cyber Dark Dragon. So, that's what I plan to do. But anyways, this mat is what I'm going to be carrying with me to school all the time. I like the Noble Knights. I love them. But we're going to get into this. I do have 2 proxies in the deck, and they are in my spells because I'm going to wait for later. But we're going to start with the extra deck. So you've got Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. And the reason this is on my list of stuff... Yeah. My camera's not the best. It's probably a $30, $40 camera, so I apologize for that, guys. But it's a rank 4 toolbox. And I had a problem when I built this deck first and was playing it, where I would have, chocolate, and I'd have, I'd say Summoner's Monk out on the field. And, I wanted a way to go into something that could run over something big. And Dark Rebellion was my solution. I had it floating around in a tin. I couldn't decide what deck to put it in, and then I saw that, well, hey, I have a couple of level 4s that are good playmakers in this that I don't have anything to do with once I use them. Once I summon them and use their effects. I might as well make Dark Rebellion into this. So I put Dark Rebellion into the deck. Next I've got 2 copies of Ebon Illusion. Now, I rarely go into the extra deck with this. I go into Ebon Illusion occasionally if I have it opened with more than 1 Dark Magician or ways to get them. So, I have those in there for the Search, the Banish. So I get 2 Banishes a turn because you've got Circle and It. So, you go Circle, summon the Dark Magician off of his effect. Get your first banish any monsters or troublesome spells or traps that may be on the field, and then Ebon Illusion. So you attack a Dark Magician, say your opponent's got, I don't know, a face-down defense. Ebon will banish stuff because you have a normal spellcaster that declared an attack. So that's why Ebon's in there. And I had 2 of them because they were cheap enough at the time I bought them, and because, I started building this when Pendulums were a thing, and one of my buddies ran copies of stuff that banished stuff from my extra deck randomly and whatnot. So I wanted to make sure I had access to one of these, if at all possible. And having 2 copies was a good reason. Was a good enough thought process. Red Eyes Flare Metal. Now, I have a trolley friend at college named Rock. And his 3 favorite decks to use are Chain Burn Exodia, and X-Sabers. And if you listened very closely, I said his top 2 favorites that he uses a lot is Chain Burn. And this little number says your Chain Burn is going to hurt you too. That is the only reason that's in there. Not to mention it's generic rank 7. Number 11, Big Eye. And that is another card that is in there. If I can't run over it, I can't blow it up, it's unaffected by card effects, and I can't run over it, or if I can't banish it or destroy it, and I can't run over it, Big Eye is my solution. And then Ebon High. And I made the mistake of ordering 2 of these. They were super cheap, and I'm like, oh, I got a good deal. My buddy who runs a Dark Magician deck said, you need to get Ebon the Xyz Ebon Magician. He didn't say Ebon Illusion, he just assumed I knew what it was, so I ordered 2 of these. And now they just sit in the extra deck and almost never get play. They are gimmicky, they're very nice, for the fact that I don't have to set my Solemn. So if I open with Solemn in a way to get 2 level 7s out, well, now I don't have to set my Solemn down and worry about you twin twistering it. I can just activate Ebon Illusion to activate my Solemn. So that's why that's in there. So, I'm going to go into... I think we'll go into traps now. So, we've got... Triple Eternal Soul. This is probably where some people playing Dark Magicians are going to come after me or start getting upset. I run triple of this and triple of the circle. The 3 souls were cheap enough to get, and I decided I wanted to always be able to have a higher chance to draw into them. Same with the circles. The one thing in this deck that is not a triple of is the navigation. I do not have 3 navigations. Because when I was ordering the 3 circles, the last circle that I wanted, this for some reason was $35. These right here, these navigations were $35, and I was not going to pay $35. This was meant to be more of a budget deck. And where is my... Okay, that's up. So one of these, I think I have. Yeah. So, originally I had 2 Quaking Mirror Forces. I took one out and put it into my very low rank competitive Dino deck. It's budget for $20. I put it in there just for the hell of it. So, you've got 1 Quaking Mirror Force. So then you've got your miscellaneous 3. You've got your Dark Bribe, Counter Trap that lets you stop something. So, if they go after your soul... But you don't want them to blow that up. You don't want them to blow this up. This is your best friend. I don't run 3 of them anymore because I decided I just wanted 1 in here. It was bogging down the deck. I would dead draw into 2 of these and just be so fucked. So, next we're going to go into Grand Horn of Heaven. So this is what this does. During your opponent's main phase, when they would special summon a monster or monsters, negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster. Your opponent draws 1 card and then ends the main phase. So if you trigger this on their main phase 1, and the only thing they've done is try to special summon a monster. Say they're going into their pendulum right away on the main phase. And I have actually done this. Their choices now are to main phase 2, or battle phase, or end phase. So here's the thing. They can't go into battle phase right now. They have no monsters to battle with. You do this right when they're going to special summon, it's done. They can't normal summon. So they can go into main phase and normal summon their monster. And sure, they can normal summon something, but you've neutralized their battle phase. Most of the time, when I've done this, my opponent has had no choice but to go to end phase, which left them wide open for a frontal assault. Next is everyone's favorite counter trap, Solemn Warning. I do believe this is my premium gold copy. So, those are the cards that are in this. So those are your traps. You've seen the extra deck. So now we're going to go into the spells. So, of course, you've got your triple circle. Lets you excavate the top 3 or look at the top 3. You do not have to show your opponent. Pick a Dark Magician or a spell or trap that lists Dark Magician in its text and add it to your hand after showing it to your opponent. Then rearrange the remaining 2 in any order. You do not shuffle your deck. Then after that, anytime you summon a Dark Magician, normal or special, you can banish 1 card on the field. 1 card your opponent controls, I think is actually what it is. Yeah. Target 1 card your opponent controls, banish it. Yep. Okay. So next we're going to go into... we're going to go into Expanded. This is another negation, and here's what it does. It is a quick play spell card. Apply these effects based on the number of Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl on the field and in the graveyards. 1 Dark Magician or more. One Dark Spellcaster monster on the field gains 1,000 attack until the end phase. 2 or more. This turn, your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in response to your spell or trap card, or effect activation. Also, spell and trap cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. 3 or more. Dark Spellcaster type monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end phase. Run 2 of them. I believe I have a third copy in my side deck if I'm playing against someone who's running a really trolly deck. This will protect your Ebon Illusion, your Ebon High. It'll protect almost everything in your extra deck if you're running the same extra deck as me, except your Red Eyes Flare Metal and your Dark Rebellion. It should protect most of the stuff in your main deck too. So next we're going to go into... You go into the field spell, and this is a lockdown field spell. It is your Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So your opponent's not playing Spellcasters. You get that. You activate that, and you manage to protect whatever Spellcaster you got on the field. Now your opponent's got a problem. They can't activate their spells. This locks out their Twin Twisters, locks out their MST, whatever spell they're running, it locks it out. Now the downside is... your opponent can still use traps. And if they have a spellcaster, all it takes is a spellcaster. Or all it takes is a board wipe. You go in with Dark Magician, or you go in with a spellcaster that isn't Dark Magician, and all you've got for protection is Eternal Soul, and they flip that Mirror Force, you're done. It's over. Because now you're locked out of your spells until you can get a spellcaster. Which isn't a problem in this deck. This is a spellcaster heavy deck. But that's your issue. With it, I'm running 1 Terraforming. I didn't want to run more than that, even though I have a whole stack of them. And when I say a whole stack, I mean a literal whole stack of them. Some of my decks are running 2 or 3 copies, and that's what's left over in my just collection tin. In my collection. So... that, and I have a whole bunch of Dark Holes. Just a mess of Dark Holes. I didn't realize I had that many. So, okay. So next we're going to go into the other card that I have 2 of, and that's stapled 2 of, Dark Hole. Nice thing about this, if all you've got is 3 Dark Magicians and an Eternal Soul... excuse me, and an Eternal Soul, this is going to kill your opponent. This is going to destroy your opponent's field. And at that point, most people I've dueled where I've done this, they've just scooped. Because they're facing 3 Dark Magicians, you're going to take at least 7,500 points of damage. Even if this is right from the get-go, right from the start, they've already brought themselves into pretty much killing range for anything in this deck. They can't do anything because all you can do is go into Red Eyes Flare Metal, and the minute they go to activate something to counter, a spell or trap to counter, they burn themselves to death. They're done. It's over. I've had a lot of people scoop. Now this is a combo that is heavily relying on you getting all 3 Dark Magicians out right away. That's a little difficult. So, but you pull it off. I'd love to see a replay. If you pull that off, you send me a replay. I will leave a link to my email in the Twitter. My email and my Twitter in the description. You send me a replay if you pull off that combo without, stacking your hand or anything. Because I would love to see that. That will be a highlight on my video. I will make that the beginning of my next video. If not the whole video. So, 2 of these. They're Evil Twin Brother Raigeki. And when I say Evil Twin Brother, I have been Raigeki'd, so I am not a big fan of it. Dark Magic Attack, it's searchable, it blows up your opponent's back row. Only time it really has failed me is when I'm facing Chain Burn. Illusion Magic, that's tribute a spellcaster, add up to 2 Dark Magicians from your deck to the hand. I think it's just from the deck. Deck and or graveyard. Sorry. Deck and or graveyard. Oh, didn't know it did that. Inheritance. You remove two spell cards from your graveyard and add one spell or trap that lists Dark Magician. Yeah, one spell or trap card that specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl on its text except Dark Magic Inheritance. You can only activate one Dark Magic Inheritance one per turn. And the two proxies. Pot of Desires. I'm waiting for the Megatons to come out to get them. So there's your spells. Now we go into the monsters. 3 Dark Magicians. Staple. I like the Dark Magician red. Plus I didn't have multiple copies of this one. I didn't have multiple copies of that one. So I had to use the Dark Magician red. I like how he looks. So there's 3 of them. The next card you're running 3 of, or I'm running 3 of, is the Rod. Magician's Rod. When he is normal summoned, add 1 spell or trap. I believe it's... Yeah, 1 spell or trap that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text. It's a level 3, 1600 attack, 100 defense. Dark Spellcaster type monster. Once it's in the graveyard, if you activate a spell or trap during your opponent's turn... Yeah, during your opponent's turn, except during the damage calculation. That's a recurring phrase in these. You can special... you can tribute 1 spellcaster to add it to your hand. So, I'm not running 3 of the Chocolate Magician Girl. This is in here. It's level 4 water spellcaster monster, 1600 attack, 1000 defense. Once per turn, you can pitch 1 spellcaster from your hand to draw 1 card. So let's say you've activated Eternal, you've activated Circle, you've gotten, I don't know, Navigation to hand. You want to draw into the Dark Magician, or you want to draw into whatever the next card is, for whatever reason, and you don't have a way to summon your Dark Magician. But you realize, well, he's better off in the graveyard. So you pitch the Dark Magician. And I've done this combo where people know what this deck is capable of and know what she is capable of. And they will not attack her. They will wait to get a board wipe. They will wait to get something to kill her. That does not trigger that battle effect. Because they do not want this coming back with her on the field. And that is all there is to it. I have had a person sit for 4 turns and do nothing to this because they had no way to out it. Other than battle. And they literally sat there for 4 turns waiting because they did not want the Dark Magician coming back. So, that's why there's 2 of those in there. They're level 4, so they get into your rank 4 toolbox. They let you draw, so it adds consistency. Next, you're running 2 Summoner's Monk. So you dead draw into a spell you don't want. I don't know. You've activated 1 Desires. You've got everything you want. You pitch the other Desires. Summon this out. Summon, I don't know, Rod out, I don't know. It's up to you what you summon with him, as long as it's a level 4 lower spellcaster, I believe. Nope, just has to be a level 4 lower monster. So there's 2 of those in there. Really wish that it wasn't limited to 2. It would add a great deal of consistency to this. Next you're gonna next is the one-off. And it is everyone's favorite hand trap, Max C. I really shouldn't have to tell you why the Max C is in here. The Max C challenge is the only phrase you can look that up on Google. I'm not gonna tell you what Max C does because everyone knows what it does. Kaiko. This is in here more as another level 4 with good attack power of 1800. It's in here just because I wanted another level 4 dark spellcaster with 1800. Plus, when it does battle damage, I can banish stuff from my opponent's graveyard. I like banishing stuff from my opponent's graveyard. I like saying, well, I've already destroyed your field. Your hand is all that's going to be left now, buddy. So that's why that's in there. You've got your Paladin of Oracle Mahad. You draw into this, you've got a 2500 beater. That's it. If it's destroyed by card effect or battle, I don't believe it actually says. Yeah, if it's destroyed by battle or card effect. So you can blow this up with a dark hole and get your Dark Magician out. So, and then you've got your 3 Magician of Dark Illusion. This is in here because if you activate a spell or trap, during your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap or effect except during the damage step, special summon from your hand. If you activate a spell or trap or effect while this card is placed upon the field, except during the damage step, you can target 1 Dark Magician in your graveyard, special summon it. This effect can only be activated once while this card is placed up on the field. It's a good card. It lets you get your Dark Magicians back from the graveyard. Is easy to summon. And it counts as Dark Magician when it hits the field. So you summon this with a soul. You summon this by activating Soul. You've got Circle on the field. You just got your banish. You've wiped out whatever was threatening you. So that's the Dark Magician build. I'm going to do a quick shuffle and show you what a quick hand looks like. Probably won't be the average hand that I get. So here's your opening hand. Let's say you went first. So there's your opening hand. You've got 2 rods, an inheritance, a dark hole, and a Raigeki. We're just going to play this out. Rod. Circle. Rod meet circle. Circle meet rod. Good. Friends now. So you've opened with the Raigeki, the Dark Hole, the Inheritance, and 2 rods. And now you just plus yourself into a dark circle. So you're going to activate the circle, get your top 3 cards. You've got no targets. None of these specifically list Dark Magician in the text. None of them are Dark Magician, so you rearrange them in whatever order you like. I'm going to say I want the Summoner Monk on top. And you wait for your next turn. So this isn't the best hand. Usually I open pretty good hands. But this is the deck build for the Dark Magicians. As I said, there are 2 proxies in here. This is the mat I'm using. There are 2 proxies in here. They're the the Pot of Desires that I'm waiting for in the Mega Tins. The extra deck is small. This is not meant to go into the extra deck. It can. I go into it for utility purposes, or ultimately if I just want to burn my opponent out or lock them in. That's the only reason that I go into the extra deck. Now, the way we play at my school, at my college, we don't do the rock, paper, scissors, or flip a coin. We occasionally roll a dice. But usually we go off the bottom card. So, max C, usually on average, that means I'm going second. So if I'm going second, I get my 5 cards, my opponent passes. So, there's my opening hand. I've got Dark Hole, Illusion Magic, Soul, I've got the Desires, I've got the Rod. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I get one of the cards that I really want in my hand right away. I'm going to get the Circle. Circles coming to the field. I have no targets, so doesn't really matter. Okay, we're going to go in with Desires. So here's the stuff you're banishing. You're banishing a Soul already. You're banishing 2 of your Magician of Dark Illusion. Banishing Inheritance, Dark Bribe, Circle, Expanded. So you've banished your Navigation, a Palladium. Ultimately, that's a good set of banished stuff. You've banished your Circle, your Inheritance, your Expanded, your Soul, your Dark Bribe, your Rod, your Palladium, your 2 Illusions, and your Navigation. So you've banished a little bit of your Playmakers, but it doesn't matter. So let's see what 2 cards you draw. You drew into your Navigation, and you drew into your Secret Village of the Spellcasters. I think that's a win. I got my field spell locked down. I like that. That's a win for me. So, that's the video. I wanted to show this off. Now that I have a webcam, I wanted to see what you guys thought. Let you know that the circle is going to only be for Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. The Pokemon is probably going to be... The Pokemon opening is probably going to be whatever Pokemon I choose as my mascot. So it's probably going to be the Shiny Rayquaza. There's the Fallout 4 opening and the GTA opening are going to be different. I haven't decided what they'll be. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, a dislike. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. Share the video. Or share any of my videos, please. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. If you have a replay where you actually managed to lock down with what I said before, send it to me. I'll leave the Twitter and my email in the description. Don't spam my email, please. I'm not going to give you my personal one, but I will be giving you one of my emails that I have access to. Yes, I have multiple emails. There's pretty good reasons for that. So, have a good day. Or, yeah, I guess have a good day.